Kia ora koutou, welcome to the first episode of the Weave Your Magical World podcast. I just want to tell you a little bit about what this is about and who I am and what kind of things you can expect to enjoy. I was in the bath and I got this very strong guidance. Oh my god, you love chatting to people. You love finding out about people. You love having conversations that are deep and rich and exciting and bring about growth for myself and for the people and for the person involved. And so it just seemed to make sense that this is what I want to do. Have chats with people and have other people learn and grow and develop from this. So yes, this is a podcast that has spawned from a place of joy. And so I'm following my heart by beginning this and sharing this with you. It's called Weave Your Magical World because I believe that you are a healer. And this is something that I have been developing within myself over a long time. I guess rather than developing, the word is remembering, waking up, and it's the same for you. And let's just look into the word healer a little bit, because for me it's a big thing. So sometimes, let's say you're really in the shit and the person that you need most in your life is a really amazing lawyer. They're a healer for you. Their skills, their knowledge, their channeling of wisdom is going to be exactly what you need in that moment. The other thing about being a healer is it's, for me, first and foremost for you in your life. That is my understanding of it. Realizing that you're a healer is like, okay, how can I use this for myself and for expanding my life and for bringing more joy, more peace, more love, more acceptance of myself, more acceptance of my body. How can I bring that in? And these are the challenges that arise for us. Like everyday challenges are the things that help us step fully into our magic and really become the healers that we really are. And so massive intention for this podcast is that you gain wisdom and insight and knowledge to understand that you are this amazing, magical being. You are a healer. You can have such a massive impact on your own life. And yes, support from other people is essential. I've needed a lot of support from other people to help me get to where I am now. And I am so grateful. And this is going to continue. I will continue receiving support from other people. That's my intention for you, that you'll get on here, you'll maybe meet some people that you realize could really support you. There'll be a lot of that on there, but sometimes you'll just pick up wisdom that you're like, oh, that's exactly what I needed in that moment. I find this a lot when I listen to podcasts. So I'm really excited to get some people on and to tell you more about their journeys and the things that are helping support them and the things that have really helped support me. A little bit about me. So I lived in New Zealand, born, as you can probably tell, and I lived here until I was like 21, and then I went over to the States to teach dance. And I thought I'll just pop to London quickly for a week, visit some friends there, and then I'll head off to Ireland, work in a pub and travel around and do my OE, my overseas experience. It didn't quite go that way. I turned up to London and I only had 100 quid on me. And so I thought, I should get a job. And so I started doing some temp work and saving money. And then I used that as a base for me to travel and explore the world, which was great. But every time I came back to London again, I would realize that the job that I was doing, which at that time was kind of PA reception work for like big investment banks and things like that, and just sort of being treated a bit like a nobody, and it didn't feel very good. So I realized that I wanted to upgrade my life and train in something that I could really make a difference. I always knew from a very young age that helping people, lifting people up, supporting people was what I wanted to do. And that's the thing that really lit my fire. It took me a while to learn how to do that for myself first. That was a big lesson. Probably ongoing, actually, that one. But yeah, so I decided that I would get into personal training. I'd had some experience in the gym already after my dad died when I was 19. which was a big significant thing that I'll probably go into some other points and how that influenced me and the healing I've done around that. But after he died, instead of doing healing and therapy and things, I got into training very heavily in the gym, so doing bodybuilding type training very intensely and dieting and things like that. And while that was a very self-destructive time, I also learned a lot about my body and learned to ignore it a lot as well, which later on I learned to listen to it much better. But that really got me into my first career, which is a career as a personal trainer. My speciality was helping people move better, feel better within their bodies, helping them recover from injuries. And then you've got the standard things, just helping people's body composition improve, aesthetics, that kind of thing. And so early on in my career, I realized that there was much more to people changing their physical body, changing their experience of pain in their bodies than just the physical. And so I was like, I've got to upskill, I've got to learn about this. And so I started training. I think Reiki was the first thing I did, training Reiki, and then life coaching and meditation. And I started just noticing little shifts that were things I wasn't able to achieve previously with my clients, just working with them physically. And so this started getting me a little bit excited. And then through some serendipities, I met someone who was involved in this amazing therapy, which I trained in for many years, called Life Alignment. And Life Alignment is this huge, beautiful, magical, complex system, which I still bring elements of now into my healing work. But I also wanted something that I could teach and ignite in somebody else. And Life Alignment, you have to go away and study and do courses and learn a lot of things and remember a lot of things. And I don't know, I'm just a bit more intuitive and free flow than that. And so I then started like an internship of sorts with one of my now very close friends in this beautiful modality called Feel It. And him and I have really developed this together in a lot of ways because it expands and it grows. Like whoever starts to learn Feel It, and I'm going to really go into this very deeply in a number of sessions because there's a lot of people who I've taught and that my friend has taught, and that it's like expanding, and it's just something that you can make your own, and it's so incredibly powerful. Feel It has been responsible for some massive changes in my life, and of which I will go into again. I think even the first podcast that I'm going to be doing will be talking about one of those massive changes in my life that absolutely just would not have been possible without doing this work. And so yes, him and I worked together almost every day. We had worked together for at least 7 or 8 years, pretty much every day, often for 2 hours at a time, just going deep, working on healing, discovering new things about energy work and emotional work and healing work. As is the way, right? Whenever you're at the forefront of something, whenever you're the one, if you're like the lead gardener in your, your community garden, or you're the CEO of your company, you're going to have to go so much deeper than the people who are supporting you. And so whoever is kind of forged that way, their journey is often a little more difficult than other people. And as soon as you jump on like I call it, your jet stream. And so I notice this with my clients is when I'm working with a client and they're like, oh my God, Penny, that was such an intense session that like took 20 minutes, half an hour sometimes to really work through that. And I'm like, that took me 5 years. And so as grateful as I am that I haven't had to spend 5 years working away with them on something, it just blows my mind how when you've already cleared so much energy, like I think about the suffragettes who massively cleared the energy for us to have equal rights, or moving towards perhaps equal rights between men and women. And the energy they had to shift was huge. And, many of them gave their lives in order for us to live in the kind of very much getting closer to equality, freedom that we can enjoy now. And so if you're working with a healer, if you're listening to a podcast, if you're receiving energy, information, guidance from someone who's already been through the trenches to change their life, to change the energy, it's going to happen so much quicker for you. So this is also my hope for you, is that you are listening to this and you're like, yes, that is the thing I needed to hear. And you can feel the energy carrying you through, and you don't have to spend years or decades or anything like that amount of time in order to have these shifts and changes happen for you. And so, yeah, my hope is it happens in the perfect amount of time. It always does. And also just knowing if you're a healer and actively kind of pursuing that or working into that kind of area, you may find that things are a bit tougher for you and the energy is slower to move for you. And so again, if you jump on listening to podcasts where other people have moved the energy, it's going to help. It's going to help you not be so in the trenches with that. So yes, where did I get to? Yes, and then I was in London. And I was in London just over 17 years. And for most of that time, I was working as a personal trainer. And also probably within the first couple of years of being a personal trainer, I started doing the training with the energy work and the healing and the coaching and meditation, all that kind of stuff, and the life alignment. And so I was working side by side doing those two together. And then, I had many ups and downs, different experiences, different struggles, which again, I'll go into it in a future podcast. Lots of things to do with relationships, to do with money and finances and self-worth, and huge amounts of things like this. My health as well. I had a huge, that's what I'm getting to as well. Say that in just a sec. So I basically got to this point in London where, so end of 2017, and I was things were going so good. Like I had really loyal clients who were paying me really well, who I was supporting them in beautiful ways. They become good friends of mine. I'm still in touch with them. And I had beautiful communities. I was training in something called parkour, which is quite energetic, but there was this beautiful community of people around me. I had lots of fun things to do to entertain me. I was dancing, a lot of full things in my life. And then the intuition came. It's like, okay, you're moving back to New Zealand. And I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean I'm going back to New Zealand? What am I going to do? Where am I going to go? And anyway, within 3 months of that intuition coming through, that download coming through to me, I was back in New Zealand, where I'd always said I would never come back unless I had met my partner, I had loads of money, and I had a career that I could literally lift up and drop down in New Zealand. And I had none of those things. And so it was quite a time of adapting, shall I say, when I got back to New Zealand. And I was like, I'll go for coffee with somebody. Oh, I don't have any friends. And I mean, I do have a lot of friends, but they're not really in Wellington, which is where I have settled for now. Mum and I would go for a lot of coffees, which was great. And spending a lot of time with my whānau, with my family in New Zealand has been a massive blessing. Obviously difficult at times because ancestral healing comes up and family patterns and things come up for healing, which is beautiful. But I am blessed with an amazing family who completely love and accept me for who I am, even though my ways of doing things and beliefs are very different from theirs. And so I'm incredibly blessed to have their support. No matter how bonkers sometimes my way of doing things seems to be to them, I'm sure. So I don't know if you are going to listen to my podcast, anyone in my family, but I love you very much. And I thank you so much for your support ongoing. Yes. So after I've been back in New Zealand, I don't know, a couple of years, I met a beautiful friend of mine, and she introduced me to this incredible woman who I'm really hoping to get on here as well, who is a functional nutritionist. And she just let me know that the adrenal fatigue that I'd had in London, which I was aware of, I had not recovered from, I had not got over, and in fact it had become really chronic. And she literally said to me, I do not know how you are getting up in the morning, like your adrenals are barely there. And yeah, this I kind of realized that I had been pushing through with my energy, and so rather than just allowing this natural energy within me to flow. And so I spent a good year pretty much just lying on the floor. Walking up a hill would just knacker. So that was a big shock to me, because it meant really releasing a big part of my identity, which was from being someone so physical and so active. I had to drop that identity. I had to let go of that I'm this fit, strong, vital, alive person, and just watch my muscles kind of disappear into nothingness, and learn to love myself anyway, without any of those external things that I thought I needed, without the partner, without the I'm living in this amazing place by myself, supporting, my business is growing and growing. There was none of that happening. There were lots of financial fears and worries about money. How are people going to perceive me? All of this kind of stuff really came up. And I was able to move through that using the Feel It technique, and persisting and staying with myself and choosing myself. And it's been incredibly life-changing and powerful. And where I am now, I just don't think I ever would have been able to believe that I can feel now the way I do before doing that. And again, before even starting the Feel It work, I used to experience anxiety all the time. I used to just think it was part of normal life, that you constantly worried about things, and you stressed about what other people thought of you, and you stressed about how somebody perceived what you said. And if you received a text message on your phone, I was worried, like, what have I done wrong? And so that used to be my MO. That was how I operated. And yeah, around a decade ago, when I really committed to my own healing and committed to my change, and I didn't believe at that point, but I made the commitment to action, to do something different, and to basically not give up on myself. That was my decision. I didn't necessarily believe it was going to work, but I was like, no matter what, I can't keep going how I had before. And so, yeah, and then slowly the belief kicked in as I started to see things change from doing that. And I think our level of belief increases and expands the more we see come into our lives. And so belief is not a black and white thing. It's not like, do you believe or do you not believe? It's like, do you believe in this, and can you now believe at this level, and can you now believe at this level? And so expanding your possibility for what you can believe in is what I have been doing as I'm continuing to go inside and to take action from a place of aligned, integrated, authentic meanness. Not sure if that's a word, but it is now. So yeah, I really cleared everything out, let go of a lot, and now I'm in this place of just creating from what feels aligned and joyful to me. And this is really the first, maybe second piece that I am doing, because I'm also writing a novel, and it takes a bit to write a novel. So just huge respect to my mum, who's an amazing writer and has also given me support and feedback around that, and to everyone and anyone who's ever written a novel or a book of any kind. Huge kudos to you. But I am enjoying that. And yes, a few other bits and pieces that are coming up as well. But I'm super excited to be here. I'm super excited to have this first episode out. I'm going to keep it pretty short, because my real excitement is talking to people and learning from them as we learn together, you and I. So yes, if you have any questions for me, then I am very happy to answer them. So leave me a comment under this, and we can create a kōrero, create a dialogue around that. And if you have anyone that you would like to recommend for me to interview, then I would love to hear about them as well. So I look forward to connecting with you soon. Aroha nui, lots of love, and I will see you soon.